Hey everyone. I know I don't ever do this, but it's for a great cause and for a great reason. It's something that's been weighing heavy on my heart for the last couple of days, given all the news coverage and things. Obviously, today is a week since George Floyd's life was taken at the hands of four officers, one in particular. Um, but I want to touch on something that's been really weighing heavy on my heart amidst all the peaceful protesting, riots, if you will. But really, I don't even want to call it, riots or anything. It's really an uprising. Um, it's an uprising, and I want to make sure we stick to that particular narrative because our narrative right now, Black people's narrative, and anger and anguish, pain, has once again it's somehow being hijacked and formed into something else. There's a lot of people calling now, and people I know and people you may know, um, concerned of the looting. Oh, they're looting, they're tearing down so and so's business. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, all the looting. Um, you know, it's really telling that when you call me and the first thing you mention is the looting rather than the cause, because that's the reason for all of this. There's a cause. This is the effect. I lived through the 1992 LA riots with Rodney King. I saw with my own eyes. I literally watched my father chase people away from our house with a bat, literally. I remember seeing that. I also remember the effect. I remember the 7-Eleven up the street from my house being burned to the ground. I remember driving with my father because he lived in, or rather, he worked in South Central, on the east side of South Central, and we drove down Florence, Vermont, and seeing all the liquor stores and businesses burned, and it looked like Syria, like literally, it looked really crazy. But I want to make sure that we remember that that is the effect. That's the effect. That's what happens when people are so enraged and they don't know what to do. They feel like they have no leadership in office right now with an incompetent president, and they just feel like they have no one else to look, nowhere else to look towards. Obviously, sane minds do not want buildings burned to the ground. Okay, for obvious reasons. Obviously, sane minds do not want that. But remember that the cause of all of this. So when you're talking to your children, you're talking to your friends and things like that, and you know, you're talking about how horrible it is that so and so's business is burned down. It is terrible. It is terrible. Make no mistake. It's horrific. But make sure you know the cause of it. Talk about the cause of it. Say, hey, so and so's business is burned down, but hey, man, Black people have been complaining about police brutality and being murdered unarmed for a very long time. They've been asking, we've been asking for a very long time. So it's not that we're condoning it, but it's just hard. It's hard. We don't know where to turn to at this point, so it's an uprising. But, we're taking notice to a lot of people who are more concerned with the looting rather than the cause. Were you in a rush to call my phone um, about Tamir Rice? Were you in a rush to call my phone about Eric Garner? No, you weren't. But you're always in a rush to call about the looting. Oh, it's got to stop. Oh, it's got to stop. Of course it's got to stop. You know what else has to stop? The senseless killings of unarmed blacks. That has to stop. It must stop. It has to. So we're upset right now, and we don't know where to look or who to look to. And I'm hoping things would change because I plan to have kids, and I don't want them to grow up the same way. You know, I don't want them to grow up the same way, wondering, how they should approach an officer or what to say, and just being demonized simply because of the color of your skin. I don't want that. you know. But there's been a growing narrative each time something happens, you know, Freddie Gray, oh, they kill each other. Michael Brown, oh, they kill each other. I remember working with someone who literally told me, oh, they kill each other. She thought I was of a different hue or race. When I had hair, I could probably pass for like a Middle Eastern guy or something, but she literally said, well, they kill each other. Why is that always a narrative when something happens to us? You know? Oh, and you know what? It's funny. The ones who say, what about Chicago? That was a hot one. Remember that one? What about Chicago? The same ones asking about Chicago and us killing each other donate to 0 black causes or nonviolent causes. 0, I guarantee you. Kaepernick took a knee. He took a knee for this very thing. And you were all upset, even though he told you literally after the first time he took a knee what it was for and what it was not for, or rather what it was not against. And you still concocted your own, theories and projected them onto us. And did anyone, you said to find another way to protest, that's what you said. Let's find another way to protest. I guarantee you, no one who was telling him or who hated and yelling at him that he hates police, that he needs to find another way to protest, came up with no alternatives. During the last 4 years, you went silent. You know why? Because you don't care about alternatives to protesting. You don't care about that. The reality is, you don't want us to protest at all. You don't want us to protest at all. You don't like any of it. So we're mindful of the ones that are more upset about the protesting rather than the killings of unarmed black men. You're on notice. Thank you.